Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhamman saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tudiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tudiyampi Dhamman saranang gacchami, Tudiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tadiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tadiyampi Dhamman saranang gacchami, Tadiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. We will now recite the 5 precepts. Please repeat after me. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. We take the precept to abstain from killing. We will act for the welfare and happiness of all beings. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. We take the precept to abstain from stealing. We will be generous, open-handed, and take delight in sharing. Kamesu michachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. We take the precept to abstain from sexual misconduct. We will care for the body, keeping it pure in all ways. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. We take the precept to abstain from lying. We will speak the truth, with smile, pleasant and noble. Sura merya majapamadathana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. We take the precept to abstain from intoxicating drinks and drugs. We care for the mind, keeping it pure, alert, and unconfused. Iti piso bhagava arahan samma sambuddho vejacharana sampano sugato lokavido anotaro purisandhamma sarati sata deva manosanang buddho bhagavati. Ye cha Buddha atita cha, ye cha Buddha anagata, pancho panna cha ye Buddha, aham vandami sabada, nati me saranang anyang, buddho me saranang varang, ete nasatcha vajena, otu me jaya mangalam. Buddhaṃ jivita pariyang tang sarana gacchami. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akariko ehipasiko ompanayiko panchantam veritavo vinyohiti. Ye cha dhamma atita cha, ye cha dhamma anagata, pancho panna cha ye dhamma, aham vandami sabara, nati me saranang anyang, dhammo me saranang varang, ete nasatcha vajena, otu me jaya mangalang. Dhamma jivita pariyang tang saranang gacchami. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Urupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Nyaya patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Samici patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Yaridam chattari purise yogani anta purisam pungalam esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo dankineyo anjarikaraniyo anutaram punyaketam lokasati. Ye cha sangha atita cha, ye cha sangha anagata, pancho panna cha ye sangha, aham vandami sabara, nati me saranang anyang, sangho me saranang varam, ete nasatcha vajena, otu me jaya mangalang. Sangha jivita pariyang tang saranang gacchami. We will now do the primary offerings. With this light brightly burning, dispelling all darkness, we worship the fully enlightened Buddha, the light of the triple world. By offering this light, may the path be free from darkness, and may our hearts and minds be always pure and bright. We offer these flowers, fresh, fragrant, and beautiful, at the Buddha's lotus light feet. By offering these flowers, may we realize the truth of impermanence, which destroys all craving and cuts all bonds. With this fragrant incense, Prepare from sweet things. You worship the exalted one, who is worthy of respect and honor. By offering this fragrance, prepare for the Tathagata. May the perfume of virtue spread always and everywhere.
Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, we are very glad today to have invited Dr. Ng Yuen Yen. Dr. Ng Yuen Yen is a retired doctor. She spends her time in retirement teaching the Dharma. And before that, she used to teach at the Pali College in the Mangala Vihara. I think not much introduction needed. Without further ado, Dr. Ng.
Good morning. Right. Okay. So today's topic is on faculties and the role of faith in the quest for enlightenment. So there are these five faculties, and now I'm going to enumerate the faculties: the faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. These five faculties, if well developed, become powerful. So you just have an engine, and then if you have these engines, these abilities, these are abilities. When we have university, we have faculties of engineering, medicine, etc. Is that you want to be trained in these faculties to be specialized. So here we want to train ourselves in these five faculties in order that they become powerful to reach enlightenment. Okay, so we enumerate five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then I elaborate what is faith. So faith is that you are the 4 factors of stream entry. This is how Samyutta Nikaya 48 talk about faculties. So if you want to read more, you go into the collected discourses of the faculties. So I'm just saying what the Buddha discussed. Okay, so he says the 4 factors of stream entry is faith. Okay, then energy is the 4 right strivings. Okay, 4 right strivings. Mindfulness is the establishment of the 4 foundations. Mindfulness, 4 foundation of mindfulness. Okay. Concentration is the 4 jhanas. Wisdom is the 4 noble truths. So this is how he simply defined it. In one sutta, he simply defined the 5 faculties as the 4 factors of stream entry, energy as the 4 right strivings, mindfulness is the 4 establishments of the mindfulness, and then the concentration, the 4 jhanas, the wisdom is the 4 noble truths. So it is a simple explanation. Okay, so then the more detailed one is to say this. These 4 factors of stream entry, what is that? So if you read the Sotapanna Samyutta, that means the collected discourses on stream entry, which is under Samyutta Nikaya 55. So you go and read that. So that's a stream entry. So you say, so you see, when he says something, you go and look at what does he mean by 4 factors of stream entry. Then you look at Sotapanna Samyutta, then you get the answer. So the answer for 4 factors of stream entry is they have confirmed confidence in the Buddha enlightenment, that he is fully enlightened, that he is perfectly enlightened, he is unsurpassed, he is incomparable. So you chant, right? You do the salutation to the Buddha, and you say it's anuttara, unsurpassed, right? Unsurpassed, that means all he is, no other religious teachers can surpass him. So this is what you mean by you are very clear that the Buddha's enlightenment is the truth, that he has become enlightened. And he is incomparable, unsurpassable. So this is the confirmed confidence in the Buddha. He say what he say and he do what he do, that he is perfect in knowledge and conduct. Right. And that since he is perfectly enlightened, then his teaching is also perfect. So you also have this confirmed confidence of his teaching, the Dhamma. And then you have confirmed confidence in the Arya Sangha, the 8 kinds of people. So you have the Arya Sangha. So we all also do our salutation to the Sangha. And there's 8 kinds of people. And the 8 kinds of people are those on the path and those who have got the fruit of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fruits. So the Buddha taught the teachings, the perfect teachings. And the Arya Sangha verified these teachings. And because they get the same fruit as the teacher. So you also must be confident that we also can get the same fruit as the Buddha. So this is the confidence that you have. So this confirmed confidence of the Buddha, the teaching, and the Arya Sangha. So this is only 1, 2, 3. Then the 4th, he says all. You see, this is 4 factors of stream entry, right? So, or what? Or virtue. Or if it's not virtue, then it's of generosity. The person practice generosity with their open hands. Isn't it just you recite open hands, right? So your open hands means open heart, open mind, not holding, not grasping. So generosity, and the 3rd is wisdom. Okay, I will go back to this. So you can see that the 4 factors of stream entry is the confirmed confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and virtue, or generosity, or wisdom. Okay, So this virtue, the precepts, why do we need to keep our precepts? So the Buddha taught us, avoid evil, do good, purify yourself. So when we purify ourselves, it's purified by virtue. So when you purify yourself, so in the relay of the chariots, you have purification of the virtue, then you have purification of the mind. Then you have purification of your view. You get the right view. When you have your mind is pure, then you see things clearly. So the mind is also purified. Then you will overcome doubts. With overcoming of doubts, then you will know what is the path and what is not path. Then you will also know the way, the vision and knowledge, jnana dasana, of the path and non-path. And the way, and the vision and knowledge of deliverance, and then enlightenment, nibbana. So you purify your virtue. Why do you want to keep the precepts? Because you want to purify your mind. This is a step-by-step, gradual process. In purifying the virtue, you purify your mind. When you purify your mind, you see clearly, because that's the pure mind. Then you can see clearly. Then you will have the right view. With the right view of the Four Noble Truths. When you keep that in mind, that is the right view, you will overcome all doubts. All doubts of the Buddha's and his enlightenment, his teachings, and the Arya Sangha. So then you will know when people tell you a view, then you know whether this view is the right path or not. You know the fourth noble truth, the path. Whether this is the right path or non-path, and you know the way of, and then you see for yourself the deliverance and that nibbana. So we all say generosity because we have open hands, open heart. So you are not clinging. So that's the function of being generous, right? So then the wisdom is the wisdom of the Four Noble Truths. Of suffering, origin of suffering, cessation is realized of suffering, and then the path. So you can see here that this is the four factors of stream entry. Now, so there was this sutta in the Sotapanna Samyutta, one of them, and the third division, it is called Sarakani. This third division is called Sarakani. Now, Sarakani, he was a Sakyan, and then he died. Then the Buddha declared him as a stream enterer. But then the Sakyans says they gathered together and they were very upset that the Buddha said that Sarakani is a stream enterer because he was a drinker. So then the Sakyans were just very unhappy, How can he be a stream enterer? Then we are all stream enterers, That's what they were saying and complaining. So Mahanama, one of the chiefs, then approached the Buddha. And then he asked the Buddha, this is, what's happening, with the dissatisfied Sakyans talking about Sarakani. And then the Buddha says, Sarakani has taken refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha for a long time. He has taken refuge, like you all chant every day. We take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. He has taken refuge for a long time. So he has taken a long time, the refuge. And he has joyous wisdom. He has joyous wisdom. And he has swift wisdom. So when he has joy and he's swift, he realized, he says at the point of death, he completed his training. So he has wisdom, joyous wisdom, and completed his training, completed in the sense of the entry into the stream. So he says, Sarakani is a stream enterer. So he has, although he did not, keep the 5 precepts perfectly, he says that Sarakani has joyous and swift wisdom. He understands what is well spoken. So the Dharma is well spoken. Squakato, right? Well spoken. And he knows what is badly spoken. Then he says, these trees here, these sa trees here, if they understand well spoken and poorly spoken words, these sa trees will also be stream enterers. What more are Sarakani? So this is what the Buddha says. So you take heart that, that at the point of death, we don't know how each person developed, right? So this is, and we cannot judge another. We don't want to judge another because, it is a moment by moment. So it's important that the being, every being has this potential to realize. So this is Sarakani. And in this Sarakani, he says, he says there are beings who develop from the faith follower. So faith follower, then you have the Dharma follower, then you have the stream entry, then you have the once returner, then you have the non-returner, and then you have the Arahant. This is like the gradual path. So you have the faith, then you are Dharma follower, then is the stream entry, then after that once returner. So it is a developmental thing. It's a cultivation thing. So the faculties are fully developed in the Arahant. So they are weaker, but they get stronger with development. So he says that this have full confidence in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. But in the Sarakani Sutta, he says some people do not have confirmed confidence in the Buddha, but have some faith, and they have 5 faculties, and they pondered about the teaching, and they can accept what is being taught. So they are also in this category, wise. They reflect on what the Buddha taught, and then says, this is suffering, all this desire is suffering, and then how you end the suffering. So he says you can develop all the faculties. And you develop the faculties, once you have faith, you will have the energy to do the right strivings. If you have faith, then you will do the right strivings. Because the Buddha says you do not want to kill, steal, sexual misconduct, lie, and then take intoxicants. You have faith in this, you will have the energy. You will have to bring up the energy to do your 4 right strivings. And the 4 right strivings are Nama. N-A-M-A. Nama is mind. Nama Rupa, right? You have to put your mind, Nama, on non-arising of unwholesome. Okay, of unwholesome thing. Non-arising, you don't have any arising of unwholesome. And then if you have some unwholesome, you want to abandon it. Abandon the unwholesome. You have any good, wholesome thing, you want to maintain it. Maintain your wholesome. And then you want to arise more wholesomeness. But you must put effort. You must put effort because we all have bad habits, right? You get angry, you get agitated, Some people disturb us. So you must put energy to restrain yourself, to guard yourself. So this energy is required. So it's right striving. So you said you have to put an effort, and that effort is energy required, and that this is to avoid evil, do good, purify the mind. And what is unwholesome? So what we say, what is unwholesome? Breaking the 5 precepts is unwholesome. All the things that's listed there. But in addition, we would say that the 5 hindrances are unwholesome. The 5 hindrances, what are the 5 hindrances? Desire. I want to enjoy myself. I want. So there is a grasping, a wanting, a holding. So the person who's wanting, holding is contracted. So when you want something, you want to hold, you want to hold, right? I want. So there is this contracted. It's not free, it's not liberated. So last, ill will. I don't want this, so they kill and whatever they do. Violence. When they do violence to others, you are actually doing violence to yourself. Because that's karma. When you do violence. So ill will, you want to remove ill will. So the right thoughts is renounce sense pleasures. So in the Noble Eightfold Path is renounce sense pleasures, renounce lust. And then avapada, renounce ill will. So ill will, right. So all this two is cruel. You are actually being cruel to yourself, to your body and your mind. When you have lust and ill will, then you have to know that sloth and torpor is the opposite of energy. Right. So if you are sloth and torpor, then you must you must put on the energy. Then the other one is if you overdo it, there's restlessness and worry. Worry makes you restless. So your mind is very restless. How to see clearly, how to purify the mind. So you have to know that you're worried and that you know how to calm yourself. So when you chant or you pray, you know that this way calms you down. When you meditate, it calms you down. It energizes you. You make you more steady to see more clearly. So another thing is doubt. So you want to remove these 5 hindrances and you have to put an effort in it. No pain, no gain. So you have to put an effort in it so that you will develop yourself. And then the 5 aggregates of clinging. So when you cling, you suffer. You must know what is clinging like. If you don't know what is clinging, then how to let go? So you have to identify. And sometimes this clinging is manifested in your body. You want something. And then this manifested in the current situation, social media. This is the craving, right? So you can see this, and then at the bus stop, it's like that. The posture is like that. You see all the C shape. C shape is for craving and clinging. So you can see the 5 aggregates of clinging. How you want to let go. So these are the unwholesome things. So the wholesome things is to develop, called the 7 factors of enlightenment, of which the first is mindfulness. Mindful of the body, of your feelings, of your mind, and mind objects. When you are mindful, you have to investigate. So the mindfulness will develop the 7 factors of enlightenment. So when you investigate your body and your feelings or your mind and your mind object, because this is all you have, You break down nama rupa, and then you have the rupa and the body. So you have to examine the body, examine your feelings, examine. So when you are mindful, then you also investigate as you imagine. Can see not? Not very clear. Oh, okay. So you investigate. So the second factor of enlightenment, you investigate. Then you will also have the energy. When you see things already, especially in your meditation, then you want to see more and more and more and more. What is this? What is that? Hey, how does it happen? So you see, the energy will be there. And the energy it will lead to rapture. And with the rapture, you will lead to tranquility and joy. And then concentration and equanimity. So with these 7 factors of enlightenment, then you are able to concentrate. So you concentrate, you don't get distracted with your 5 senses. You're not distracted with the 6 sense base, like your mind objects. You get very distracted with your 6 sense bases, your 6 sense base, you get distracted by them, then you cannot get one-pointed. So these 4 jhanas is just at the end of it for to elaboration, is just one-pointedness. Jhanas is actually mean one-pointedness. You can stay at that, you can concentrate on your subject, you can concentrate on your studies. You don't know, after a while, you want to go to the kitchen, get something to eat, you concentrate, you can concentrate on what you're studying. So you concentrate. So it's one-pointedness. Or you want to do something, you can finish doing it, So it's one-pointedness, but now he says one-pointedness in what? The goal to see release. The one-pointedness is to see release. Release means deliverance, to see release. So mind objects in Anapanasati Sutta. In Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha says a few phenomena. In a few phenomena, he says anicca. The mind is anicca. The mind objects is anicca. Feelings are anicca. The body is anicca. Right? So with all this COVID, we can see illness, death, the number of deaths, there are so many, right? So the body is anicca, based on conditions. So, and the feelings are also impermanent. Anicca is impermanence. So you have to see impermanence. The characteristics of existence is impermanence. Viraga, if it is impermanent, you are disenchanted with it. You can't get anything out of anything impermanent because it will morph, 变色龙 like that, it will change. You won't get the same thing. You can't hold it because it's changed already. It changed with just a blink of the eye, it changed already. Isn't it? The sunrise, sunset, the clouds in the sky, the leaves moving in the wind, it's actually telling you the changes, physical phenomena. That means outside your body and inside your body is the same. You are nature. Outside is nature. You see things are changing, impermanent. And then viraga is that they call it fading, but it's also called disenchantment. Raga is, you want, you tanha, raga. So you don't want, deep raga, you don't want. So there's disenchantment, dispassion, you turn away. So when you turn away, there is nirodha, cessation. In cessation already, it's important now to see release. So he says, patini sego. And actually it's release. So you must see every phenomena, physical and mental, the characteristics he asks you to see. Because all that we see are many mind objects. We see this, the conventional truth, as well as the seeing in your mind's eye, the wisdom. You also see this. You also see this. This is what he wants us to see. This concentration here, he wants you to see this. He says it very clearly, right? The mind objects, anicca. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. If something that you have, like you own, you can do anything to it. True? Like your house, you want to paint what color you like. You own it, ma? Okay, so you paint whatever you like. So this is your house, right? But the Buddha says this body, can we control, the illness when it comes upon you? Can you control? Okay, you can, when you get COVID positive, you get sore throat, headache, running nose, all those things. Each one has individual differences. But can you control the body not to sore throat, not to have running nose, not to have this cough, not to have this headache? Because that is a natural phenomenon. If you cannot control it, how can you say this body is yours? So he says, anicca, dukkha. When it's dukkha, it's anatta. It's not self. If it is yourself, you can control it. No matter what you do, how well you eat, how much exercise you do, finally you will die. All of us will die, right? So can we control this phenomena? They say the genes expiry date, if you do everything well, is 120 years, right? But then after 120 years, you still die. Unless you are Jing, all this. So you see, we will all die. This is the characteristic of existence. It arises and it ceases. You see this phenomena everywhere. In all phenomena, in your body, your breath in and your breath out. If you hold your breath, you didn't take another breath, you will die, right? So arising or breathing in will end. And then there will arising of the breathing out. The breath out will also end, right? So the phenomena of breathing has a arising and an ending, right? Arising and ending, right? Because you're a human being, you have this physiology. Your posture will change. So you see, when you're sitting in the morning, you're lying in bed. Then after that, you go to the toilet. All your posture will change. You have to sit on the toilet bowl, right? After that, you get up and you have to brush your teeth. So all these movements have an end. The toileting end, the brushing teeth end. Everything there's an end. Then you have to see an end also of your feelings, because it's based on contact. Every contact gives you a feeling, right? It is somebody you like, oh, you're very happy. Somebody you don't like, So there is this feeling, but it depends on contact. So you have these feelings arise and cease, arise and cease. The mind also depends on the hindrance. It moves according to the mind object. So it arises and cease, arise and cease. Who says mind is eternal? When you know that there is fickleness of the mind, one moment I can decide on this, next moment I can change my mind. So the mind is the most fickle, right? And so how can we say that mind is forever, is eternal, right? So here you see mind changes also. So, and then you have to see release. Your mind have to be very quiet. Our minds have to be very quiet. The mind has to be very quiet. to see the release. But you can see the release in all phenomena. So how do you see release in all phenomena? Now, I got this tennis ball, okay? So this ball, so this is a physical phenomena. Then I have a bounce. So you see, when it contact the floor, it ceases. Then you have to release the energy, correct? So you see, so it releases the energy, right? So if let's say, so if you see, if you release the energy, so after the first bounce, then the energy is released, right? So this is the karma. They say also if you hit hard at another person, it will bounce back at you. Right? So when you do not create any more karma, you're not hitting at anybody, you're not wanting anybody, you are right in the middle path. You are not going either way. So this is karma, right? This is harder. So the Buddha says, be gentle. Be gentle. Right? So you have to cultivate gentleness and kindness. So here we have release. So you see release in the outside world, like this phenomena, and you can see release in your own body, especially when you walk. When you walk, so you put your energy down, right? You can feel the opposite, right? Energy is in the body. Why people enjoy exercise? They release that pent-up energy. Okay, the exercise. And why do people enjoy yoga and Pilates? Because they make you whole and you breathe and you release the energy. So you enjoy the release of the energy. You release. So this energy is released, so it becomes blissful. Some people angry, right? They like to, they new thing, throw plates or whatever, no? No, they want to release the energy. So exercise, they say is good. Yes, it's good. But you know yourself why it's good. You need to release that contracted, because you want something, you contracted it. Later on, there are a lot of business, for massage of the neck, because everybody is like that, right? Because you cannot release, then you ask other people to release for you. Correct? So this is when you exercise regularly, you release those energy yourself. And then when you relax different part of your body, you know, oh, this part here needs some release. So you see the release of the feelings also. When you're angry, you see how this anger mount, and then after that, you say words. So all this must restrain. Right? Some people get very happy when they're angry because they feel like they're alive. But they don't know that once they say those words already, it will haunt them for the rest of their lives. So this is why the Buddha said, guard your sense doors, guard this mouth, because it's like an axe, like that, You chop others and chop yourself. So here we have to see release. When you eat, you also see release. When you bite, hard food, soft food, when you bite, so your two teeth come together. Then there will be also energy, right? Released. Okay, so, and then when people get very stressed out, they might bite their teeth at night. They grind their teeth. So this one is they do not know how to release that energy. So when you do mindfulness, of eating, you just know when you're eating, and you also bite. And you notice the Buddha said hard food, soft food. When you have hard food, you need to bite. So it is, you released. So at the moment of your whatever you're doing, every activity has a release to it also. So we have to see that every activity has a rising and an ending. So at your last breath, this is your last breath. Then it's just one breath in or one breath out, then over, full stop. So the Buddha will say that this is the body end. Then the consciousness, if they have still ignorance, it will go and attach itself. Then when you say it's all the realms are impermanent, if it's impermanent, why you want to catch? You can't catch. So if you don't catch any of these realms, then there won't be any rebirth. But if you still have craving and clinging and certain defilements you do not know about, and you haven't cleared, then you will land on it. So the Buddha says, you have to see clearly suffering and the end of suffering. So he asks us to see clearly this. So he says, these 4 jhanas, the purpose of which is the one-pointedness, the object is release. So that's what he says. Then the wisdom, he says the 4 noble truths is to see the arising and ceasing. See the arising and ceasing of suffering. So then you can see the arising and ceasing of suffering, then that's the end of suffering. When must I stop? Up to me, is it? Okay. Then, so I want to know when is the cessation, when I'm supposed to. Okay, so since I am given more time, then I will say that this is the way that the Buddha said about these 5 faculties. Faith will stimulate you to energize yourself to do the right thing, the right wholesome thing, and then you will develop your mindfulness. So you pay attention to your body, feelings, your mind, and your mind objects. You're mindful, and then you investigate. Then you get equanimous. Then you'll get developed only when you're happy and equanimous, then you can get concentrate. If you like the subject, you can concentrate, right? If you don't like the subject, you can't concentrate. Right? So when you are happy, then you can concentrate. When you can concentrate, then you can see clearly. You can see clearly the 4 noble truths, the arising and ceasing in all phenomena, physical and mental, all phenomena, which are the 5 aggregates that you do not cling to it. So then you'll be very clear what is path and non-path, because you see it for yourself. You see it when your mind is quiet and calm. You can see the bottom of the lake because it's so still. So then you know what is path and non-path for yourself. So when people tell you that the mind is forever, you won't believe. When people tell you that consciousness is forever, you don't believe. Right? Because it says all phenomena, including consciousness, including mind, ceased. And that there is no more rebirth. Right? Because everything, like we say, anicca, dukkha, anatta, there is no self. So there is non-self, so there is no clinging to that self. So that this continuous seeing of non-self has to be seen through anicca or suffering. Then you see the non-self and you continuously, uninterruptedly, he says, you see this for yourself. Then you continuously see it, then you solidify, consolidated. Then you know for yourself, oh, so this is the truth. And that previously you just listen to what the Buddha say about anicca, dukkha, anatta. Now you know and you dwell in the truth. So you say, opanayiko, Dhamma, opanayiko, sanditiko, can see, akaliko, timeless, 2,500 years ago, and now and in the future, it will be the same. Opanayiko means you can enter upon it. Last time you listen, then later on, you can dwell in it. And pachatam vedi tabu vinyuhiti, the wise, each one for himself. Others can bring you. So how do we have this? You can enter upon it. How do we have this? So they say, you have good friends, and the good friends ask you to go and listen to Dharma. You listen to Dharma, you hear the truth. It is well proclaimed, it's well said. The Buddha's words are well said. And that when you hear it, you have faith. When you have faith, you pay attention. When you pay attention and to what you are doing, your actions by body, mouth, and mind, then you practice right strivings. You have to be mindful. You have developed the 4 mindfulness. And then concentration and wisdom will come. It is a gradual path. So faith is very important. Your presence here indicate you have lots of faith. Right, huh? So here faith, it will lead you to enlightenment. It is one of the very strong way to enlightenment. So the Buddha says, he asked Sariputta, he said, ask Sariputta about, do you think the people who have complete faith or, or devotion to the Buddha, do they have perplexity and doubt towards the Buddha and his teaching? And Sariputta says, when a person is devoted to the Buddha, he does not have perplexity or doubt. Because once he has faith, he will develop the energy to do the right things, to be mindful, and then to concentrate. And then he will be liberated. So faith is something that can be developed to the fullest, to enlightenment. And the Buddha says, yes, when the person is fully devoted or dedicated or have confidence in the Buddha and his teaching, and it will have no doubt on the teaching and the Buddha. He says samsara is, you cannot see the beginning of samsara, where beings come and go, roam here and there. You cannot see the beginning of samsara, but you can see the end, cessation of samsara. It is just this world. You can see the phenomena of cessation in this body, feelings, mind, and mind objects. So there may be a beginningless samsara, but there is an end. You can see the cessation. So this is where you can see for yourself and experience for yourself the Dharma. So this is what Sariputta says. You have faith, you strengthen. Because once you have faith, your faculties are strengthened one by one. No? So this is what the Buddha and Sariputta was discussing in Anga Apana. So it's also found in the 48, right? On another occasion, there was this, the Buddha asked Sariputta, do you have faith that faith will lead you to enlightenment, to the deathless? Do you have faith that faith will lead you to enlightenment? Then Sariputta says, I do not just believe what the Buddha say, and then just believe that faith will lead me to enlightenment. But I have seen for myself. I see, I know, I understood, I realized that faith can lead to enlightenment himself. So he says he sees it himself that this faith led him to enlightenment. So it's another strong point about faith. So then there is one particular sutta, one of my favorite suttas, called Dika Naka Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya number, I think 74, right? Dika means long, Naka means Thai. So it's called Long Thai Discourse. This Long Thai Dika Naka, Long Thai, is an ascetic, was an ascetic. And he was the nephew of Sariputta. And one day, Dika Naka came to the Buddha and then after the preliminary greeting, he says, nothing is acceptable to me. Then the Buddha said, isn't that acceptable to you? That view is acceptable to you? Then Dika Naka said, so. Same. Then the Buddha then says that everything is acceptable to me. If Dika Naka is nothing is acceptable to me, then if people have a view that everything is acceptable to me, it's closer to lust. Everything can, come. Yeah, give. You know, so it's closer to lust. When nothing is acceptable to me, you don't want anything. So he says that view is closer to Nibbana. Then he says, when some people have a view, something is acceptable to me and something is not acceptable to me, it still have lust, because you still have something that is acceptable to you. So then you say, when people have so many views, people will quarrel over views. So ascetics, they believe in peace still. So they don't want quarrels. So if they know such things, so you say same, it's not a proper answer according to the Buddha. Because when you have views, then if you may quarrel. You may quarrel over, because you have different views. My view like that, your view like that. My view is right, your view is wrong. Why your view like that? So strange, etc., etc. People will quarrel over views. So when you need two people staying in a house and they can quarrel already, right? And then they say politicians quarrel, right? And nowadays, there's so many killings because of, views, religious views, etc., etc. So that they knew that the best thing to do is to give up the views so that they don't quarrel, they keep the peace. So after that, when Dika Naka hear that already, he nodded, and then subsequently the Buddha taught the Dhamma to him. He says this body is made up of the 4 elements, procreated by the mother and father, fed on and built up by rice and porridge, and is subjected to disintegration, and finally death. So this body is suffering. It is a tumor. A tumor, we all about a tumor, then we get delivered, right? So it's a tumor, it's suffering, it's a dart. Then he says, this is, the body is void and is non-self. Because it's just nature, This is just nature, arising and ceasing of the body. So it is impermanent. This body will cease also. This particular body of such a name arise and cease, and go according to the karma. Until he doesn't crave anymore, then there is no more karma. So then he says this body is like that. Then he says about feelings. There are 3 kinds of feelings. He says there are 3 kinds of feelings. So there is dukkha, which is painful, sukha, which is pleasant, then is adukkha and asukha, which is not painful and not pleasant. So these are only 3 kinds of feelings he taught to Dika Naka. Then he says these 3 kinds of feelings You can have only one feeling at one time. When it's pain, you don't have the other two. When it's pleasure, you don't have the other two. If you have neither pleasant nor unpleasant, you don't have the other two. He says in one contact, there is only one kind of feeling. Okay. So if you have a painful feeling and you can direct your mind to another contact, you can feel relief. Or you can look at the feeling to see it arise and cease. This is another way. Because feeling is, as you know, is impermanent. It's fading. It ends. So like the body and then like the feeling is also impermanent. So there's nothing to hold on. So there is, you can see feeling as fading, ending, disenchantment with feelings, and then cessation. So our feelings change all the time, right? From the morning to now, from yesterday to now. You can see your feelings changing all the time, depending on conditions and contact. So here he says, so this feeling represents the mind. Mind, nama, then the rupa. So he described the rupa and he described the nama. Then he talked about feeling as feelings represent most of the nama. We are all drawn by our feelings, right? We do things mainly out of feelings, right? So he described that nama is impermanent. Feelings are impermanent. It's fading, it's ceasing, can be disenchanted with the feelings. Then when you're disenchanted, you don't go and look it, right? You don't touch it, right? So you are released. Then he says, then you do not have any more rebirths. So while the Buddha was discoursing to his nephew, Long Tai, Dikanaka, the Sariputta was fanning the Buddha. He was fanning the Buddha, and when he listened to this discourse given by the Buddha to the Dikanaka, his heart was filled with faith. He says the Buddha knows directly all this. He directly knows the abandonment of the body and the feelings. He knows directly, he sees it for himself. So his faith was all, he was so happy and joyous at that. Then while he was at that state, still fanning the Buddha, he reflected on what the Buddha said. And then he let go of all the clinging and he became one of the Arahants. And this happened 2 weeks after he heard the first discourse by the Asaji, one of the first 5 ascetics. So you can see faith. So when the Buddha asked him, do you have faith that faith will lead you to enlightenment? You can see, you can remember from one of the suttas, this sutta, when he became enlightened, he was full of faith. And with just a moment, just listening to that, he realized enlightenment. And Buddha will say, to others, Sariputta has joyous faith, joyous wisdom, swift wisdom, penetrative wisdom, because it's so fast. You just see, you listen, reflect, and that's it. That's the truth. So you can see that faith has a big, big role in the enlightenment, in the quest of enlightenment. So you can see from this, we talk about faith. And you develop that faith in that way. But the Buddha also says you have to be very careful. These are faculties. You do not go on blind faith. You must practice it to see it for yourself. So this is 2,500 years away from the Buddha. There are monks and there are monks. There are monks in robes. men, human beings in robes, bhikkhu and bhikkhuni. So we know the Buddha is fully enlightened. So we go to the suttas and read his teachings. So now we have current monks. So you also have to be careful to listen and then to see and compare with what the Buddha taught. So when they tell you that consciousness is forever, mind is forever, eternal. So the Buddha says there is no eternity, the eternal view, and no nihilism view. It is the middle path. You go neither. So you have to be very careful about your faith. You have to be discerning. You have to develop yourself when you know what is path and non-path. You must know the way. And then it is like investigate. Don't blindly follow. So many a time this happens. So there are idols, monk idols. Now we have monk idols. So you have to be very careful. Last time in 2,500 years ago, the people at that time also idolized the Buddha. So you can read in the suttas, you can hear what the Buddha say about these monks that idolized him. Some people will just go there and just listen to the Buddha, just look at him, he's so handsome, and then they just idolize him, not listening to the Dharma. Then there are some monks who will go and see the Buddha. Can I have a brief teaching? So you can read in the suttas, that's what the Buddha said. You ask for brief teaching, afterwards you follow me around. So you can see that the Buddha also faced this adulation and idolization, which what he doesn't want. So you can read in the sutta, then you will laugh. Oh, that time also like that. People will idolize. So it's very dangerous to idolize. You have to see the teaching. You see, you see the Dharma, you see the Buddha. So you have to see the Dharma. So you have to know the gratification of faith. Gratification means you have faith in that person, then you idolize the person. It's not. You have to, Buddha is your only teacher. All the others are the supporters. Okay, so you listen to the teachings of the Buddha. And then you are very clear what the Buddha taught. So you know what is the teaching like for yourself. Then when you practice, you know what it is. Right. So energy, if you have too much energy, then you become very restless. So of course, the gratification of it is that you have the energy, energy to restrain yourself, to guard yourself. But then when your energy is too restless, then it becomes agitation. You want to do this, want to do that, so many things to do. Right. So that is the danger of too much energy. Mindfulness, so mindfulness, some people do mindfulness into the macro level. They all do macro level, but we have to see the big picture also. So mindfulness, not for mindfulness sake, but for the liberation sake. Then concentration, there's a gratification. When you do the concentration, you will have rapture, piti, you have sukha. When you are concentrated, it is a natural process. But then if you get addicted to the concentration, then that's a problem. You will still be in samsara. So he says concentration, if you get into the jhana, rupa jhanas, because it's so peaceful, so pleasant, then you may lose it. Then you'll be here in samsara for a long, long time. So then this concentration, the danger of it is that you may get addicted to the pleasure. So the Buddha point that the object of concentration is release, so that you don't dwell into the too much into the pleasure. Then the wisdom. So the wisdom is that you must know for yourself whether you have defilements or not. So when the Buddha was taught by the Alara Kalama to go to the seventh jhana of nothingness, right? The fifth jhana is the space. The sixth jhana is consciousness. The seventh jhana is nothingness. So this Alarama Kalama taught him to go to the jhana. And then after that, Udaka Brahmaputta taught him to go to the eighth jhana, which is neither perception nor non-perception. But even after he gone to these very high level concentrations, jhanas, when he come out of it, he still have his defilements. He still suffer. So he was very truthful to himself. Although the teachers asked him, you can be the co-teacher, he says no. So you must be truthful to yourself. You have to keep the fourth precept, because you don't keep the fourth precept, when the truth comes to you, you can't see because it's all cloudy. So when you practice the fourth precept, you can see the truth clearly. So here you see, even though he went to the Arupa jhanas, he knows that there is still volition, there is still suffering. And the way out is to let go of this wanting to go to any jhanas. But you use the power of the concentration to realize the release, the object of release and nibbana. So this is the Buddha also taught about these five faculties, their gratification, the danger, and the escape. And these five faculties arise only because the Buddha arose in the world. He arose in the world, then we have the teacher, the teaching, and the Arya Sangha, and those who verify his teachings, so that you see for yourself. So only when the Buddha arrives, then you have these five faculties. So he says, when the person arrives and you have developed this faith follower downwards to the arahantship, those who have five faculties, they are in the domain of the teaching. The outsiders, they are worldlings, he says, of them. Outside of this is the worldling. The worldling will be in the world of samsara, around and round. So he says this of the dangers, the gratification, the dangers, and that it is because of the arising of the Tathagata that you have this development of this Arya Sangha, the path and the fruit. Now let me think what else he says. So in the end, he also say about origin and cessation of this, right? So in the end, he asks you to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. But only after you are developed, then can you be your own refuge. Because you are the one facing the world. You are the one facing the world, so your mind has to be steady. Right? Your mind has to be steady against the external conditions. So you eventually, you can take refuge in yourself. So, and then the Dharma raft, the Dharma car has to be let go of. And then, of course, you must know when to let go of. Okay, some people, this wisdom, we all say the danger, they think that they are already in the Nibbana, but the jhanas are not Nibbana. So the Buddha says that in the first sutta, Brahmajala Sutta, the net of views. So there's one part that false nibbana. So one of them is that they think that this is nibbana when they were in the jhanas. And then of course, another one is that full satisfaction of pleasure, of sexual pleasure, and that is nibbana. So that is also wrong. So in the first discourse, he mentioned that these were wrong views. So there's a net of views, but these were the wrong views. So the wisdom, you have to also know the gratification and the dangers also. So we have Tantric Buddhism, right? Tantric Buddhism got divine consort. The sexual intercourse is considered the tantamount realization of nibbana. So the Buddha is very clear, you have to be celibate, renounce sense pleasures. Sexual pleasure is one of the sensual pleasures. So some people turn the teaching on its head and says that sex, the ultimate experience of sex is nibbana, which is wrong. So sex, like we know monkeypox now, right, is a lot of suffering and is definitely far from nibbana, right? So you can see that the people, now we have gay, GBMNM, gay, bisexual, men with sex with men, right? So apparently now that the opening up of the society, they experience this, they have this pandemic now because of the suppressed desires or whatever. They say this, and then they use a cocktail of drugs to experience this. And then they have the smartphone because they will know the app where the interested parties are, the gathering. So I just read this article that says that they have an addiction to the pleasure under the influence of chemicals. So they call it chemo sex. So you have chemotherapy, right? So you have chemo sex. So under the influence of cocktail of drugs, they experience sex, and then they need to have this smartphone to see where people gather of the same minds. So then they have this pandemic of suffering. So this is what's currently happening because of this addiction to sensual pleasures. So our third precept is that no kamesu vichachara. That means you refrain, you abstain from sexual misconduct. You might want to bring it to another level. You want to refrain yourself from sense desires and sense pleasures. So then you go to the middle path. You don't indulge. So the Buddha said, do not indulge in sense pleasures because he says that it is cost, is low, is vulgar, is unbeneficial. So this is what he says, do not indulge in sense pleasure. So you can see in the world, that this is what the Buddha says. When you indulge in sense pleasures, you will have suffering. So this is a very clear, this current pandemic now with the monkeypox is very clear on this. Then there will be collaborative damage from those who use their towels or their the bed sheets, etc. So this require restraint. So the Buddha also say that we have to do this large. Our mind cannot be small. Our mind must be large. We have to listen to the Dhamma. Abandon the unwholesome things. The unwholesome thing, we all say this already. Last year, worry, restlessness, sloth, doubt. Abandon. Then you have to restrain. How to control a pandemic? Restrain yourself from all these activities. restrain. And then you have to guard. And meanwhile, you need to endure. So you have to develop a large mind to make it immeasurable and deliver it. So this is faith in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Arya Sangha. People have realized it already. The Buddha is one example. So he says other beings who practice the way, the Noble Eightfold Path, will also realize. So we now have these 5 faculties and the role of faith. Now you know the role of faith in the quest for enlightenment. I think I take questions from here now.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ng, for a very enlightening talk. We have time for about 3 questions. If you all have any questions, just ask them, but we'll pass the mic to you because we're recording the questions. Any show of hands? Wait.
Dr. Ng, thanks for the talk. I was wondering, normally you say you follow the Eightfold Path,
Yeah.
the path, you reach the Nirvana.
Yes.
So does it mean that the Eightfold Path covers all these 5 faculties?
Yes. So you see, the everything, the Noble Eightfold Path is inside here also. So the Noble Eightfold Path is the right view of the suffering of the 4 Noble Truths. First is right understanding, right view. So this is right view, right understanding of the suffering, and then the path. So here already include the 4 Noble Truths, suffering, the origin has to be abandoned, the cessation has to be realized, and then the path has to be developed. So this is the Noble Eightfold Path. So when you have faith, you listen to the Dharma, you put an effort, the energy, the effort, the mindfulness, the concentration to do the right things, to think rightly, to have right thoughts, to right speech, to right action, to right livelihood. So this is, you are walking the path. When you say the Noble Eightfold Path, you are walking it. Then you are doing all this to purify yourself, avoid evil, purify your mind, and then realize the Nibbana. So these 5 faculties, when it is fully developed, become the 5 powers. So when you read Nibbana, that's collected discourses, these 5 faculties with the 5 powers bring one to see Nibbana. And this is part of the 37 factors of enlightenment. Okay.
Dr. Ng, actually, okay, thank you very much for this, even though it's a kind of revision, right? But the depth of your analysis is really, very inspiring. But Dr. Ng, I want to ask you about the part about concentration.
Okay.
Because you say it's because of the concentration, then we can see the object of the concentration is not the bliss and the pleasure. Is during the concentration, our object is release, to be able to see the whole process of release.
Yes.
Starting from cessation, is that
starting from anicca.
Anicca, and then the viraga, the fading,
yes,
slowly fading, and then the cessation, which is the ending, and then the participle, which is the release.
Yes.
So
or relinquishment, release, relinquishment.
There are people who say that we don't need jhanas, we don't need concentration.
Yes.
And then there are people, but then from what you say, and then of course we know that concentration by itself, without any other thing, which is what Buddha practiced before his enlightenment, is Buddha found out is not useful. But when we say that during concentration we can see all this, means concentration is actually a very active state. It's not just a bliss out and a very that kind of state. So
Right.
I just want to clarify because there's this opposing views about the importance of jhanas
Right.
and what do we do during jhana? I think you really don't do anything. But actually from what you say, it is a very specific thing that you have to do when you do have the jhanas.
Right. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, the last word is of the path is concentration. And historically, it says is the jhanas. But then we will say that this is how he explained it, the jhanas. So concentration is important. We all know in our daily life, if you are not focused, you can't have anything done. Correct or not? You can't pass, if there's hyperactive children, they cannot focus, then they cannot pass the exams. So people require certificates. So you can see that you need concentration. So you want to encourage these children to do things that they have an enjoyment in, so that they will develop. So some people know how to draw. So you encourage them to draw. So whatever it is to encourage them to be able to focus when they are happy. So this is how you want to talk to bring joy. If you bring joy in the talk, then it's very readily acceptable. So when your mind is happy, then you can concentrate. If you are happy with the subject that you are studying, then you can concentrate. So we all know, right, the subject that we like, we can score. So it is a daily life thing. It is not a difficult thing to understand. So the person who enjoys his work is full of life, is full of understanding. So he will explore. The person who wants to fulfill his passion in whatever he do, he will move the maximum of his potential. This is daily life thing, right? If the person loves fashion, he will go all the way out. If the person loves music, he will go all the way out. He will study, he will do a thing all around the music subject. That's why we have American Got Talent, right? Or whatever. So they develop themselves. They find something beautiful out of their suffering. So when they are happy, they can concentrate. So this is same. If you are able to be calm. So this jhana thing the word jhana becomes a hindrance to the journey, It can become a view. But what is jhana? So he says you are concentrated on something, on a thought, and you sustain your attention on it. And after that, this is a process. If you like something, you touch, but you enjoy yourself very much. Addiction is like that also, right? You you touch it again and again. And then this process allows you to, when you touch, you get this perception of bodily pleasure, of mental pleasure. Then it develops into mindfulness, equanimity. So this is something that they enjoy, something that is joy. Only when you have joy, then you can concentrate. But then you must not mistake the joy with the bliss of Nibbana. So that is the danger. So he says that this is the danger. So he's very clear, because we are distracted, right, by our six senses. So you have to be one point. You need to break it. So you need to be one-pointedness. So when you are doing this, you need all the 7 factors of enlightenment. You're looking at the object, you are mindful. You are mindful of it, but you are staying focused on it. You are looking at it still. You're mindful, you are looking at it, you're investigating in it. You're looking, and when you're looking at that object, it shows you the anicca, it shows you the cessation, it shows you the release. It shows. So he says, you can have, and then you are happy. So when one is on the path, that means you're looking. Then when you see, this is what he says, then you are happy. Then there is the fruit of that path. So you see it continuously, you see, hey, it's happening in all phenomena. So this is one pointedness. If you get away from the word, the jhanas, is that you are not distracted. You have to finish your cooking. You have to finish to get the meal ready. You have to focus, ma. People will tell you do this, oh, wait a while, I'm going to do this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the meal by 11:30 or something, right? You have to focus. You have to do the responsible thing. So you just have to focus. You have to get to the plane, right? You have to focus to make sure you get to the plane. Or you make sure you focus, you get here on time. So you must focus, right? You don't get distracted. So people will distract you. Hey, can you help me do this? Hey, I'm going out. I've got to reach there by what time? You will just abandon that. So this is actually daily life things. It is not, so there is in everything, there's a gratification and a danger. So if you, of course, having pleasure is better than having pain. But the Buddha says pleasure or pain is just a feeling. It arises and ceases depending on the conditions. So the Buddha said volition. The volition, that means the 11 ways of release. 11 ways of release. Or the man from Attanakara, something like that. He says, show me, is there something that the Buddha say that you can be released? Then the Ananda says that, Buddha says this, that if you can let go of volition of the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, fifth jhana, sixth jhana, seventh jhana, eighth jhana. Already 8, huh? No, 7 jhana. 7 jhana first, because he never said the neither perception nor non-perception. Says nothingness. If you get the volition, because when you want to go there, you have a wanting to go into those jhanas. If you can let go of those jhanas, and also the 4 Brahma Viharas. The 4 Brahma Viharas of Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. If you let go, so there's 11. So these are persons who practice Brahma Viharas and jhanas up to the 7th jhanas. He says, this, if you just let go of that volition, because when you want to go into the realm of the Brahma, you want, there's still a wanting. So he says, you let go of that wanting. Then all the 12 DO, because once you let go of volition, consciousness does not arise. It doesn't get landing, doesn't go to a landing. So he lets go of the volition. So he says that is the 11 doors to the deathless state. So this particular Brahmin was so happy with the reply. I came to ask one way only, to how to get to the deathless. I just need one way, but you tell me 11 doors. So he offered the monks of the either side of the Ganges, Pataliputra, and the other side, the ropes and food, of course, dana and food. And for Ananda, he gave 500. I think so. Wow, he was so happy with whatever he said. He just offer him the ropes. So you can see that this lay person is wanting to go to the deathless state, and his joy on listening, that all you have to do is to just let go of that volition. So you let go of volition, so you have stealing of the activities. Relinquish your whatever, your acquisitions, cessation. dispassion, cessation, and then nibbana. So it's called stilling. But you require your mind to be quiet. And the jhanas is one way where you can keep your mind quiet. And when you're quiet, you're happy. So now you listen, I need to check your mind. Oh, so happy now, right? Because now you listen, check your mind. Oh, it's so happy. The mind is always happy when it's not disturbed. We all go and kacho it only. So this is how when you one-pointedness, how one-pointedness can make your mind happy. You can see what when you do one-pointedness, everything is therapeutic. Housework is therapeutic if you're not kanchiong. Cooking is therapeutic. Whatever you're doing with your body, mindfulness of the body, if you relax into the job, it is therapeutic, they say. It is therapeutic, but it is, the joy of just doing with no expectations, just doing something. So there's the joy of mindfulness. And then, of course, there's a joy of concentration. Then one has to be careful. But then the mindfulness is important because it's the beginning of the 7 factors for enlightenment. And nowadays, it has been sort of like made secular, right, mindfulness.
So we say on the journey of learning
Yes.
and practicing, and we have having complete, and our journey ends, and we end. So therefore, there's the incompletions of learning. So where does we lie? Where does we stand anyway?
Oh, right.
Where does we stand? Of course, there's a lot of I've said that on the gratitude of the teachers that we have learned from. Well, I say that on the point of let's say 10 teachers with us, and we can't say which teacher is the best. Yeah, we can't say which teacher is the best. But of course, we try to accommodate and try to learn to extract as much as possible from each of our teachers. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So yeah, okay. So, and because with all this point that we think that it is right, and we accept it that it is right, and for that we try to practice and learn and practice, and but in our journey of this life, and we have yet to complete all these practices. So where does we lie on? Where does we stand anyway?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Thank you.
Buddha, so one have to have so if you take the Buddha as a teacher, so the Buddha is the only teacher, and you read his teachings, because now it's accessible. You read the original teachings and you read the changed teaching, because there's an evolution of the teachings. So you read the teachings and then you understand, you try to understand. So the Buddha says that the teacher is like the fear, it's like the Dharma that is spoken by the teacher is like the fear, the fertile field, because he's a perfect teacher. Right, huh? And then if the person practice according to what the perfect teacher teaches, then he is a good seed. Good seed. Now, if there is this fear and the teacher and the soil, and if the teacher is not perfect, then the student follow imperfect teaching, then it's a poor seed. Okay, so now when we have a teaching that is perfect, and that once you understand it, he says the development is this. Then he says that the stream enterer at least will return to samsara for 7 lifetimes. Right, huh? The once returner come back to samsara once, and then a non-returner doesn't come back to this part, but into the pure abodes. Then the Arahant will not come back anymore. There is no more rebirth. So in this, you do not worry. You just do your best. So as long as you are diligent, the Buddha's last words were, strive on with diligence. You strive on with diligence. So he says, as long as you strive on, at the time of death, the that is not complete, then you come back to this world of samsara 7 times at most. So we also want to rejoice that there are gods, devas of the Sotapanna status. And they say, in the Sotapanna Samyutta, they say that the gods of the gods who are stream enterers will consider human beings with this faith, protect and guard these beings. So that's why we all chant Akasata, Chebumata, Deva, Naga, Mahitika, Punyam Tam Anumutitva, Charam Rakantu, Loka Sasanam. And also the Sasana, and also Mamparamti, meaning all the devas of higher powers than human beings will protect the Sasana, will protect the teachings, will protect you and I. So there may be, this building may have been burnt, but there is still some, the teachings, the books or the Buddha Rupa was left intact. So there are devas that will help and guide. So that if you know you are on the path, so if you have confirmed confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and you have virtues or wisdom or joyous wisdom or generosity, he says that is enough to go into the stream of the Noble Eightfold Path. He says that once you are in the stream, you only come back 8 lives. So you don't worry, because worry is a hindrance. Worry is a restless. So the thing is, of course, worry is good. It's a chanda, because worry has to be balanced. Balance that you practice the right strivings. You practice, you make sure that you meditate every day, once or twice a day. You contact with the Dharma, and you practice to contact with others, the right speech, not false speech, not harsh speech, not divisive speech, not malicious speech. And you talk that what you say is truth and beneficial. If it's not beneficial, then you don't want to talk too much. So quiet and silent. So you restrain. You know your own bad habits. So you make a habit to change your habit, make a strong energy to change. So these are ways of changing. So the thing here is that we all say what? You tell the student, you don't have to score. You only have to do your best. So the best you just do. So don't worry about it. So when there is no worry, no hindrance, when the time comes to go, it's just a rising and ceasing. So he says that there are beings who will realize at the time of death. So like Sarakani, the drinker, he realized Sotapanna at time of death. Then there are there's a non-returner. No, they say that at Nibbana at death. So the Buddha's father at Nibbana at death, and he was Arahant at the time of his when he died. Then when he says, when you realize, or when you let go of the body already, then a consciousness, then you see, some people see that they realize at the interval. That means they are just about to touch, I'm not going to land. So they let go. They let go of their volition. And those people may realize on landing, like the aeroplane land at the airport. Oh, what am I doing here? Faster get out. Then there's another aeroplane that said, land, but then said, hey, wrong airport, quickly go out. So he just like on the runway, poof, very easily, he's still on the energy, so he go off. Then there's one with exertion, because he parked already. Oh, faster unpark, quickly go off. So he says that upon death, you can realize at the interval on landing, without exertion, with exertion, or otherwise, he says, go to the pure abodes of the Akanita world. That means the pure abodes. So you see, we all don't know what will happen at the time of death. So we don't worry, because we don't want to get the taint, worrying about the future. What for you worry about the future? Because the future is always unknown, right? We just have to be present only. And then the thing is that present also it's not staying also what? It's still moving what? There is no constant, So what for bother about the future? I mean, of course, the future you strive on to realize. That's the only border. The diligence you need to put in. So here we say that just strive. That's what the Buddha said, strive on with diligence. And then you nourish yourself with the teachings of the Buddha. Listen to the Dharma, read his teachings, practice Sila, Samadhi, and then the Panya will grow. So your seed will be a good seed, so that it will get its fruits. The past has gone now. So like Angulimala, yes. So the virtues you have, your generosity, your virtues, and good friends and good company brought you to the path. So it is a journey. So we all are like on a journey, on a Dharma journey. So we have our ups and downs. This is the journey of many. Like Angulimala, who's a serial killer, the Buddha said stop. So he said stop all this. And then he knows that the Buddha came to tell him to stop. Came all the way just to tell him to stop, because he has that sankan, that virtue, that enough virtue to be able to understand the teaching. If the Buddha says these Satris can understand, they will be stream enterers. What about human being? Once you understand, it's enough. It's enough. That understanding will then bring you to that path. You just need to understand. Some people, he says, will understand within the day. We all talk about 7 lives, right? 7 lives. Then Buddha says 7 months. If you practice 7 months, 7 weeks, 7 days, or even 1 day, in the morning you listen, if you wise and all that, in the evening you realized, or the evening you listen, in the morning you realized. So he says this Dharma is so miao, right? So it's all up to you hear, and then you caught it because there's the joy. And then this is really good. This is well spoken. The Buddha's words are well spoken. So this is so the past is gone. The future is yet to come. At present, you are totally attentive. So you understand what is the well-spoken Dharma words. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Dr. Ng, for the sharing with us the Dharma. Please turn to page 48 for the closing chant. Manong pong Bhagamadama Mano Seta Mano Maya Manasa Ce Pandutena Vasati Va Karoti Va Tato Nando Kamambeti Chakam Va Vato Pada Manong Pong Bhagamadama Mano Seta Mano Mayam Manasa Ce Pasanena va sati va karoti va tato nang su kaman beti chaya va anapaini tato nang su kaman beti chaya va anapaini tato nang su kaman beti chaya va anapaini sadhu sadhu sadhu